concerning Congo, right? Concerning Congo, in the spirit realm, I see a mineral spinning. Okay, it looks like aluminium foil, but folded up into some kind of a stone. Okay, I see it spinning, and I'm asking the spirit, what is this? Asking the spirit, what is this? He says, son, the Congo election is a fight for mineral wealth. It's a fight for mineral wealth. So many powers are involved. I saw a man being pulled on the left and on the right. The west is pulling him on the left, the east was pulling him on the right. And the man was in so much pain. And I asked God, what is this? He says, the man you are looking at is Congo. And the pain they are going through is because of external powers. And I saw the people in bondage. They were weeping, they were crying. I was asking the Lord, has salvation come for these people? The people in Congo. I entered the room and I saw a man sitting on a chair. Okay? See a man sitting on a chair. And a man entered. He looks like he has a nice round head kind of thing. Okay? And this being was in white, who was across the table, and this man entered. And he sat down, and the being asked him, what are you going to do for Congo? Okay. And he threw his manifesto, he talked. He threw his manifesto. Tishike this, something like that. But T something. He threw his manifesto, and the being wrote 20. He stood up, very sure of victory, right? Then a light man entered this room, and behind him was a crowd. My God, there was noise. When the first man was entering, there was no noise. Okay? When this other being entered, this other man, the light guy entered. There was noise. And people were screaming and shouting, Moses, 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 Moses. It's like a deliverer was coming. The crowd, my God. Moses. He sat down, and the Lord asked him, what are you going to do for my people? Okay? What are you going to do for my people? And he promised them a lot. There was so much wealth this guy had. I'm in the room like this, I'm looking at him. So much wealth. I saw properties, I saw houses inside his heart. These were properties that he owned. I saw minerals. I saw things to do with oil. I saw links to Sudan. I saw links to arms. Some information is sensitive, but I'll tell you. Okay? And he was being called Moses. And the Lord looked at him. The people wanted him. The people really wanted him, right? And the Lord wrote one. So it's like 2-1. He stood up not having known what the Lord had written. Stood up not having known what the Lord had written. So when they went, I went and locked the door, and I asked the Lord, what is this? Explain to me, because God is full of mysteries. He says, none of them are my options. None of them. Okay? This guy who he wrote to, he has more influence externally. Okay? This other one is the hope of the people, especially the poor. They are thinking he's going to bring them out, but God didn't say anything. He is not the one to bring them out. Okay? There'll be a lot of rigging. There'll be a lot of rigging. We need to pray against bloodshed. We need to pray against bloodshed. Because the Lord took me outside to a line where clothes were hung. Okay? And I saw a white bed sheet. And it was washed, but there were blood stains. And I was asking, what is this? He says they need to pray against bloodshed. There is a spirit of a revolution in the realms of the spirit. We must pray that the country will not split. We must pray that the country will not split. Okay? Then the Lord said, if the first guy wins, it's going to be a hostile environment for the second guy. He's going to have to leave the country. It'll be a very hostile environment. If the second guy wins, this is what the Lord said. If the second guy wins, there'll be a promise. But no. Then he talked about their wealth is not necessarily in minerals, but in their food industry. That's why their wealth is. They must take advantage of that. But this is not an election of helping the people. No. This is an election of who will have control over minerals. It's an election of who will have control over the minerals. I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's an election of who will have control over the minerals. Is Moses really Moses? Has he come to deliver his people? The people think it. He's moving with a revolution behind him. The Lord is not saying that. Their hearts. No. So remember Congo in your prayers. But I've told you everything already. Okay? I've told you everything already. So that's Congo. That is Congo. There's going to be rigging. There's just going to be rigging. So they just have to remove something. It has to be by force. It has to be by force. You have to use force. It has to be by force. If this number 2 guy uses force, he can sit there. But even if he sits there, is there change coming to this country? No. But he's violent. This number 2 guy is a dangerous guy. This light guy, the money guy, is a dangerous guy. He's militant in nature. Okay? He's very militant in nature. I was looking at him, around him, I was seeing Afghanistan. I was asking God, why is there Afghanistan? He says, this guy is a militant guy. If I was him, if I was sitting with him like this, I would advise him to use force. Because the systems I saw the media, Euro something, projecting him as a winner. Okay? This light guy. This Euro something, Euro News something, projecting him as a winner. Studies have shown that people want change of government, change of this, change of this. Then I see this dark guy, bald head like ish, fatty, something, something. They're discussing there what they can do to win. They're not discussing the vote. Shalom, shalom.
President Felix Tshisekedi has been re-elected in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Official results show Tshisekedi won just over 73% of the vote. The election was marred by irregularities, including major logistical setbacks, which meant voting had to be extended by a day. Several opposition candidates have accused the government of fraud and are demanding a rerun. They are now calling on their supporters to take to the streets in protest. Let's get more on the story from our correspondent, Jonas Gerding, joining us from the capital, Kinshasa. Jonas, can you tell us more about these results, please?
Yeah, so Felix Tshisekedi, he got re-elected with 73%. And this is really by a large margin, much more than he has had in the previous elections in 2019. His strongest competitor, Moise Katumbi, he has been the governor of the mining province Katanga a couple of years ago, and he only had around 18%. And other candidates, such as the former competitor Martin Fayulu, just had 5%. And some people might know Denis Mukwege. He's a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, but he didn't even get 1%.
And opposition leaders, they've alleged that these elections were rigged, and they've called for mass protests. What might those look like?
Yeah, I think we should still need to see what will actually happen, because a couple of days ago, they already called for the first protests. These first protests, they were forbidden, and there were just a couple of dozens of protesters who showed up. Finally, they faced the police, and it's really questionable whether there will be large-scale protests. And this is also because of this huge result, the huge win of Felix Tshisekedi. And there have been actors such as the Catholic and the Protestant Church. They are considered as the watchdog in the DRC, and they already said that the general results are confirmed with their results. There might be some discussion on the precise figures, but it sounds pretty credible that Felix Tshisekedi actually won these elections.
And what about other international observers looking at this landslide result? Are they also saying that this was a free and fair election?
Very good question. The European Union, they had an observation mission, but finally they canceled their mission because they weren't allowed to use all the material that they wanted to use. And so there are not many international observers yet, which are still on the ground. And so this makes it a little bit tricky to say. There are a couple of irregularities, but at the end of the day, it looks like most of the people will go ahead with the results. So there won't be too much questioning from many sides. There's not too much questioning to be expected.
Well, thank you very much for your reporting. That's DW correspondent Jonas Gerding in Kinshasa.